Hello and welcome to episode 54 of Polka Dot Podcast. I'm Leslie, and joining us today is my cousin Jennifer. Say
Hi.
hello, hello.
Hi, world.
This is our 54th episode of Polka Dot Podcast, our fourth for the year, and our very first that I intend to post on YouTube. So we're doing a little bit of video this time. Hello, everybody. Bear with us, we're new at this, but I think will be a lot of fun. So on today's show, at the end of every month, Jennifer joins me and we just talk about Disney news and updates from the past 4 weeks. And so today we're going to be talking about what's happened with Disney in January. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. So let's talk about Disney passes.
Yes.
All right. We got some sad news for people on the West Coast, some more sad news, as if having Disneyland closed for 10 months isn't sad enough. Now Disney has eliminated Disneyland's AP passes. They're no longer offering the annual pass for locals or for anybody. And if you have the Walt Disney World Premier Pass, which is an annual pass for Walt Disney World in Orlando, but also gets you access on the West Coast, that's going away, but you can renew your AP pass until April 30th, I believe, but it will just be for Walt Disney World, no longer for Disneyland. So why are they doing this? A few reasons. I guess they have to start cutting costs and maximizing their profits to make up for this 10 months of loss and however long it's going to continue. And I guess AP holders on the West Coast just don't add enough to their bottom line because they'll come for a day, half a day, kind of mosey around, ride some rides and go home. Mm-hmm. They're not going to book at the local hotels. They're not going to buy as much merchandise. They might not eat 3 meals. And so they're there adding to the crowds, but not putting as much money into the parks as out-of-town visitors might. And for the people who have traveled a long way to come to Disneyland, the people there who are making the lines longer kind of detracts from their enjoyment, and they might not be as interested in returning. So they really want those out-of-town guests who are paying for each day a pop to come and spend their money. So that's their plan as of now. What do you think about that?
I mean, from a business sense, it makes sense. They have to do what they have to do, I guess, but from a consumer, a Disney fan, that one, I would assume that stings for a lot of people.
I think so. So I lived in LA for just a short time, just about a year, and I was not an AP holder. I regret that. That was a stupid, I should have been, and I should have gone to the parks more during that year. I think I went maybe 4 times. And, but yeah,
how many times do you have to go to make it like worth your money?
I didn't run the numbers on that. I tried to look it up, but it's no longer available. It's not posted on the website anymore. So I don't know. But there was a range. So for Disney World, there's a range, I believe. It could cost you up to $1,200 for the year per person, or it can, I believe, go as low as maybe 600 and some ish. And so the different levels get you different things and different discounts on merchandise and that sort of thing. So for Disneyland, I don't know if there was as much of a range in the pricing, but for your local theme park, like the local theme park that we have here where I live, if you go twice, it pays for itself. I don't think that's the case.
Probably somewhere between Disney. Like 5 to 12 times or something like that.
Yeah. So I know that the former AP holders in California currently still can get like a 30% discount if they want to go to downtown Disney and spend some money, because that area opened a while ago outside of California Adventure. But it's going away. But they do encourage people to go to the AP holders Facebook page for updates in case there are any changes or any additional discounts or anything that comes out, because stuff is changing all the time, especially this year and last year.
Thanks.
Yeah,
for sure. Especially thinking like you have like little kids and you use that pass a lot, and that's a, you know, if you have it, that's a great activity to go for just half a day and just ride a couple rides, have a good, you know, Saturday or a day off of school or something. And so that'll, yeah, that's difficult, I can imagine.
Yeah, I would be totally bummed if I still lived there, and I'm sure I would have been an AP holder by now. So I'm sure I would have been really bummed. And what Disneyland is doing is using their parking lot to administer vaccines in California.
Okay, all right.
So that's about as close as you're going to get to Disneyland.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
really sad. But I'm glad that they're putting it to use for that purpose because they really need it, especially in California. So there's
absolutely.
that.
Should make a concession for eliminating the AP, that if you're a pass holder, that you get a COVID shot for your
Hey. Yeah. After the medical
yeah, exactly.
professionals and first responders, AP holders are next in line.
I've heard that's at the top of the list.
That's a priority. So, moving on to Disney resorts and the perks that come along with staying at the resorts, or maybe not so many perks
That
now
used to come
as of
along.
January. What's that?
I said the perks that used to come along with staying.
Exactly. There still are some, but it's becoming less competitive to spend premium prices to stay at a Walt Disney World resort on property as opposed to one of their approved sister neighboring hotels. There are some select hotels that Disney has kind of partnered with where you get some perks like transportation to the parks. They just don't run every 20 minutes like they do on property. But yeah, it's becoming a little less competitive. But here's why: the Magical Express bus is going to go away a year from now. And I'm really, really bummed. This was basically the complimentary bus that takes you from Orlando International Airport to whatever Disney resort you're staying at. And it would take a while, you know, you have to go there in the basement, the very moldy old basement of the airport, stand in line. You might stand in line for a while, then you load on the bus and you probably sit there for another 30 minutes before everyone else comes and gets on the bus. And then it takes you, usually each bus stops at maybe like 3 different hotels. And usually I'm always at the last hotel. So it can be a long ride when it's all said and done. I would estimate that from the time you land, your flight lands, it will take about 2 hours to get to your hotel. You know, getting off the plane, walking through the airport, getting your luggage. Actually, you don't get your luggage on the Magical Express. That was one of the perks. They send it on to your hotel for you, so you just get your carry-on and get in line, get on the bus, and then get to your hotel. Would take about 2 hours usually, depending on how long the line was. But now it's going away. So you're going to have to handle your checked luggage. And if you're traveling with 3 or 4 kids, that's a lot of luggage if you're going for a week. And so now your options are Uber, taxis. You can still order a Mears bus, but you're going to have to pay for it, like a Mears shuttle bus. And one of the last times we were on, you updated us that they're building that express train,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not going to come to Disney Springs for another year after so 2 years from now.
Yep.
So I don't know. I'm really bummed about this. Do you remember riding the bus?
You know, I don't remember it. I don't know if we did. Um, I can't remember right at that. I can't recall when I would have written it, but actually, when I was thinking about planning to take our girls down there, that was one of the things that I had in mind, and one of the reasons, you know, why I wanted to stay on property. Because a couple of thoughts, like it takes kind of the thinking out of it. You don't have to worry about it. Yeah, it takes a little bit longer, but you don't have to pack car seats and all
Yes.
that stuff. So you just get on the bus and go. It takes you to the resort, because even when the train does come along, it drops you off at Disney Springs. Well, you need to either find a bus or do something to get to your resort from there.
Yes.
So that's going to be another step. And then, like, the other thing that I thought of is, and I think I read an article to this effect too, but it said, a lot of the other hotels, like Marriott, for instance, they provide complimentary shuttles. So that all of a sudden they can like up their game a little bit, maybe make them run a little bit faster or something like that, or even just offer them. And that's going to, I assume drive quite a few people to those types of hotels now. So I'm sure it's a cost, but it's that one is a little bit of a head scratcher to me, because I think that's a great perk that they have.
Honestly, like at this stage in my life, having a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, I would have rather just paid a little bit to
Hmm.
ride, because to have the option to do that, because like you said, they're really big buses and you don't have to, I mean, I suppose if there was, heaven forbid an accident, you would wish that there were seatbelts and everything else, but chances of that happening, I mean, I don't think it's ever happened. And they're
Like a
really
school
big
bus.
buses. Yeah.
Hmm.
And they're bigger than school buses, and you don't have to fly a car seat down on the airplane and
Hmm.
load it up in a taxi or an Uber car or whatever. You don't have to divide up your kids and all that luggage into 2 Uber cars and pay for 2 of them because you have too many kids and too many suitcases or whatever. So, it's just going to be so much less convenient for people like you and me who have small kids, because your kids are now, do you want
Three
to
and
tell
one.
them?
Yeah.
3 and 1.
Mhm.
So at this stage in our lives, I'm going to really miss that
Yeah.
bus.
Yeah. I would have paid $50 for my family or something. So I think, on one hand, yeah, they missed an opportunity to potentially make some money on it. Like, instead of taking it away, just charge for it and see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know if they figure that people are just going to get too upset, because, one of the other things too is if you stayed on property, you could get a complimentary magic band for your stay. They do have others that you can upgrade for 10 or $20 for a special design, but they would just give them for free. Now that's going away and you have to pay for them like everybody else. And, that's a little bit of a bummer, but I'm also for reusing things and reducing waste. So I save mine and I'll just reuse them. Last time I got, shocker, a red and white polka dot one, and I just plan on using that one until like it breaks or something and or too outdated to use again. But that's another perk that's going away from the hotels. So I don't know, at this stage I would rather go more often to Disney and spend less and stress less about the cost. So I would actually consider staying off property at this point because
Oh,
it's so
wow.
expensive. Yeah.
Mhm.
And, the transportation to and from the airport, I wouldn't say that is the deal breaker, but it definitely tips me in the direction of maybe let's see what it's like to stay at a condo or something, an
Mhm.
Airbnb, if we have to figure out how to get there anyway.
Yep. Yeah, because then you can look for a place with a pool or, whatever it is that suits you. But yeah, getting a rental car, paying for the cost of a rental car, putting all the car seats in a rental car, getting to the hotel. If you're on property, now they charge, right? It's not
Yeah.
free parking on property. So uh yeah, that is I don't know, maybe they're just looking to cut out the people who, you know, look to go to the resorts but don't spend lots of money, and they figure the people that do spend money will still come to the resorts and just spend a different way to get there. I don't know, but that one.
Yeah, I mean, there was one thing I didn't like about the Magical Express, and is that when you return to the airport, you have to go to the bus stop at your hotel 3 hours before your flight.
Mm,
And that was a long time. I mean, it's a big airport. The security lines are longer than my local airport, but we always had more than enough time. And I could see how some people wouldn't want to do that. And maybe they would skip the return bus ride and just take an Uber.
mhm.
Or, it is kind of a long wait when you sit there and wait for everyone to load on the bus, especially if you're the third hotel on the route. And so, if you're just going, two adults are just going as a couple, I could see maybe not wanting to waste that time. You just want to
Mhm.
get in and get out. So you jump in an Uber. And maybe they had enough guests like that.
Could be.
But I imagine so many of their guests are people like us with small kids, and it's just not convenient. So for me, if I actually went as a family this year during the pandemic, which I don't think we will, but if we did hypothetically, I would be inclined to rent a car, because the other problem is for the bus system, which is usually really nice, from the hotels to the parks. Those are, they're not filled to capacity, obviously, because of social distancing. So you have to wait longer for multiple buses to come so you can get on them. And, with a 2-year-old, 1-year-old, however young you go, it's just going to take that much longer to get back to the resort at night or to the park or whatever. So I think that if ever there's a year to splurge on a rental car, this is the year.
Yeah. Yeah. We went a couple years ago, we stayed off property. We were all older. So my family were like, when we were kind of teenagers, maybe some of us were in our early 20s, and we did stay off property. We got a rental car down there, which was, no car seats or anything like that. But I remember driving to the parks, parking, and it actually wasn't bad because they have like little those like tram or trolley kind of cars that take you to and from the parking lot. And I mean, those were easy. You never have to wait for them so. Yeah, I think I would give it some thought too, looking at other, hotels or Airbnbs so. I guess maybe it opens our options.
Maybe we'll have to start getting creative and learn new methods, but yeah. I am personally sad about that news.
Yeah, agreed.
So in other resort news, I don't know if you would say, not a mock-up, the actual physical prototype or first room unveiled of the Star Wars, how do you say, Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel.
Mm-hmm. That's a
was unveiled. And it looks very much like the drawings, the concept art. They didn't change much. Mm-mm. So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So what I read about it is it's a 2-day experience, right? So I was a little unclear if you could book for more than 2 days or if they're limiting guests to 2 days, given probably the high demand. And I think it's TBD on when you'll be able to book, right? Is that?
Good question. That I'm not sure. I don't have that information.
Because I think from what I read, if I'm recalling, it said that, so I guess how it works is you go into the hotel and you're transported kind of to this world, and it's a kind of virtual reality, I'm not sure, kind of simulator thing, and then you're in space. And I'm assuming it's going to be, amazing, but I think it involves like a group of people probably checking in at the same time. So I read that they're holding off probably a little bit on it until like COVID hopefully, starts to die down, people get vaccinated, because likely you're going to be checking in and doing that with, other people too.
Yeah, so it's a two, like you said, it's a at least 2-day experience. It's like a Disney cruise, but a stationary hotel. So they basically have all these different activities and like in resort excursions and things that you can do to, like you said, get immersed into the world of Star Wars. And I think it's really cool. My brother reported this on the last show and said that it's going to cost $1,000 a night. Ooh. And I just cracked up.
I really love Star Wars.
Now that's not like totally out of the norm for a deluxe Disney resort. I mean, if you stay at a villa, at the Animal Kingdom or Grand Floridian, you're going to spend $1,000 unless you rent points from a DVC member like me and get it for half the price. But they do have standard rooms with just regular old rooms that are less than that, and they're still very pricey in the range of, as far as hotels go, but they're not $1,000. They don't start base price.
Starting at $1,000.
At $1,000, yeah.
Yeah.
So if that is the case, whoa. Yeah. And it's the type of thing I'd love to do it and try it, but I personally just don't love Star Wars enough to spend $2,000 just to be at the resort. I'd rather actually go take a cruise or go to the parks or do anything.
So like I was thinking, so you wouldn't.
Do you have your wine, by the way? Sorry.
I do. Yeah, cheers.
What kind are you drinking?
I believe a Pinot Noir.
Oh, okay. I got my Shiraz.
Oh, no.
Continue. Sorry. You were thinking.
Well, so would you just be at the hotel for 2 days so you don't doing all the experience? Because I think, what did it say? There's lightsaber training, operating like a navigation and defense systems that you work through, and like, do you not go to the parks then? I
I
was
think
like,
that's the idea,
okay.
but it is going to be, I believe, within walking distance, very close to Hollywood Studios Galaxy's Edge. So it could be that during your day you can walk into Galaxy's Edge. I don't know if they're building a separate park entrance
Mm-hmm.
or if you still have to go to the front of the park like everybody else in Hollywood Studios, because that's going to break that world immersion. If they have a back entrance just for resort guests, then that would be really cool, because then you could go ride a few rides and then go back to the hotel. That would be the ideal. I don't know if that's the case or not. I haven't seen that detail about how you actually get into the park.
Yeah, yeah, that would be a cool perk of that, because that's what I was like, stay in a hotel for 2 days and like you're locked in there. I was like, I would hope that you could go to the parks too, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. Well, probably you and I won't see because we're not going to spend.
I'll be YouTubing it. I'll just watch other people do it on YouTube.
Exactly. Yeah. Someone will put it up on YouTube and we'll watch that. That'll be good for me.
So there are a couple of details that I did write down, though, for anyone who doesn't know. It says that the immersive experience all begins at the Galactic Star Cruiser terminal, where guests will check in and enter a launch pod and virtually leave their planet behind. So I think that's what you're talking about, like a virtual reality type thing.
Yep.
And my brother Dan described something similar that he read with regard to the Space 220 restaurant that they're building at Future World in Epcot, where you go and there's going to be some kind of simulator where it looks like you're leaving Earth and going up into space to dine at this restaurant. So that's going to be pretty cool. So maybe we can do that.
Yes.
And then we'll be like, okay, that we got it.
Yeah. we get what you're selling, Disney.
So, and then it says, as they watch through windows, their launch pod will blast off into space and dock at the how do you say it? Halcyon Star Cruiser. All the Star Wars fans right now are like,
yeah, they're
please don't turn the channel. Click on another video where they will stay for 2 nights, lightsaber training and operating navigation and defense systems on the ship's bridge, something or other. Okay, so they're going to have those things. My note wasn't very complete there. So that's what they're going to have those things. So I think, I'm sure my nephew would love to stay there. I know for sure my friend's husband would love to stay there. Shout out to Liam. He's a big Star Wars fan. But I'm, like you said, I don't think I'm going to be dropping $2,000 on it anytime soon.
Not for me.
One more update on the resorts front. So a couple months ago, you mentioned that they're renovating the Polynesian hotel rooms. They're now also renovating the Contemporary's main A-frame tower, the first one that the monorail goes through, and they're updating those rooms. So that should be good, because if you're going to spend top dollar on a deluxe resort, you should have the newest of everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What are your thoughts about the Contemporary?
I like it. So
do you?
I do. I think it's really, I think it's cool. It was like, as far as, so fun fact, I believe that US Steel, which Pittsburgh company, they used to be really big, like had their hands in all kinds of things. Still a big company, but used to get into all kinds of different things. They had, a building and architecture division, and I believe that they built the Contemporary Hotel. So
they supplied all the actual like the beams and everything to build it.
Wow. Yeah, and I think they had a division of, like, a construction division. Hopefully, don't go too far into the territory of being wrong, but I believe that they actually constructed it or helped with the construction and the design and everything. So
really,
I've always thought it was really cool. I like contemporary, like that feel and the design,
like mid-century.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love mid-century modern. I think the monorail going through the hotel is really cool. Like I've been there to eat and go to some of the shops and everything. And I don't know, I've always just like thought that it was cool. And I always thought if I was going to pay to go and stay there, I wanted to stay in the main building. I didn't want to be in one of those like side buildings. That's not as
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
So I don't know that
The
that is
Bay
a
Lake
little,
Tower.
yeah. So those nice, new, clean, beautiful rooms, a little intriguing to me.
I really hope that they have a good mid-century vibe. I really like mid-century stuff. And like makeup, obviously. I love that, but um there's something about the contemporary that doesn't fully look mid-century to me, but I'm not professional designer or architect, obviously. So I could be missing it. It almost looks like what it actually is, like a 1970s, 80s building that's sort
Hmm.
of trying to have some mid-century decor put in, but it looks very 70s, 80s to me. But I could be totally
Hmm.
wrong about that. Maybe the whole design and everything else, maybe it is true to, although it's such an original design. I don't know if there's any other hotel that has that A-frame with
Yeah,
the train going through it, or at least not at the time it was built. So
yeah,
it's
I
just,
agree.
yeah.
It's always intrigued me. So,
Yeah, I love riding through it every time I go hotel hopping around that circuit, the monorail resorts. I
mhm.
love riding through it. And I really need to stop next time and eat at Chef Mickey's because it's one of the most famous character dining experiences, and I've never actually done it.
Mhm.
So, and they have like what I hear is the best peanut butter pie there. So
Okay.
that's reason enough for me to go try it. But yeah. So they're getting a makeover.
Mhm. Okay.
Um, all
I
right.
actually have a couple resort things too that I found.
Oh, good. Okay.
So the Polynesian looks like the reopening is going to be coming up hopefully in the summer of 2021. It looks like you can book dates now in late July, so that's exciting. The DVC is still open, but everything else is not. A lot of the amenities are shut down. Um,
Okay.
but it looks like they're doing. I think maybe we talked about this before.
Yeah.
They're incorporating Moana themes
Yes.
throughout, so that's going to be cool. But they have a date for that now. And then this kind of goes with what we were talking about before with staying off property, but there's going to be a new Walt Disney World Swan Reserve Hotel. So it's actually a new building. It's going to be like a sister hotel to the Swan and Dolphin, but it's
Oh.
a completely new building. It's a Marriott, and it's under their Autograph collection, which is like their high end hotels,
Hmm.
and it's going to be open summer of 2021. It's actually going to be, it says, located on true Disney property, and within walking distance of Hollywood Studios and the back entrance of Epcot.
Okay, so is it going to be right there by the Swan and Dolphin?
But must be
Okay.
just like a little closer, I guess.
I wonder if it's going to be like a new tower, kind of like how they built, the Bay Lake Tower that you just mentioned next to
Yeah.
the A-frame Contemporary
Yep.
Resort. Okay, that's
It's
probably
so,
what it is.
yeah, so that looks cool. It's a completely new hotel. It said it's going to lean towards suites and larger rooms for families of 6 to 10. Um,
Oh.
but it's going to be smaller too. So it has its own rooftop space, own poolside bar and pool. So it says it's going to be like a lot more of like an intimate feel. Um, and you can use Marriott points there too, which is
Oh,
exciting.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, good. We have a Marriott rewards card, so we'll put it
Yes.
to use.
Yeah.
I
So
think I
something.
never really liked the Swan and Dolphin before, and I've
No.
never wanted to stay there, but I'd have to check this out.
Hmm. Yeah, brand new and still on property, I guess. So that one will be interesting to look for. And I like the idea of suites and larger rooms too. So
Yes.
something
Yeah.
to check out.
Okay, and that's perfect because I have a family of 5 and it's just too many people to put in one room, and I don't, but yet my kids are too young. I don't want to go put them in like another room, by
Mhm.
themselves. Even if there's a shared door in between, it just makes me a little uncomfortable
Oh,
because those doors can shut.
mhm.
And so a suite is perfect because usually they have a kitchen and a pull-out bed
Yep.
in that area, and then a bedroom with 2 queens or something, and that would be the perfect amount of space for the 5 of us while they're at
Yep.
this age. So hopefully they'll have something like that that's really nice, but a little bit cheaper
Hmm.
than,
Maybe, or at least you
the
can use the
monorail
point
resorts.
for 1 or 2 nights.
Well, that's true.
Mhm.
Yes, the points, that would help a lot. So, okay, well, yay, finally some good news. That excites us. Yay. Okay, I'll look for that. And then did you have something else on resorts?
I think that was it on resorts.
Okay. Okay, so moving on to Disney park and ride updates. This is the most fun part of the show that,
Yes.
yes, I
Mhm.
always look forward to this part. So, as we know, Walt Disney World is celebrating its 50th anniversary come October 1st, specifically, obviously, Magic Kingdom's 50th anniversary. And it's already booked. You cannot go on October 1st unless there are a lot of cancellations. They've already, because right now, they're doing the park reservation system
Yep.
during COVID, and all the reservations are now booked for October 1st. And they're booking up really fast for the rest of that week before and after. So if you're planning on going before or after and tie your trip in, you might not be able to get into the park that day. But if you want to go around that day, go ahead and book it fast because it's booking up if it's not already. Last time I checked, it wasn't, but it might be now. So,
No.
Hall of Presidents at Magic Kingdom, we're getting a President Biden. So right now the ride is closed. We don't know when it's going to reopen, but it's probably not going to take that long. When Trump came to office, it was closed for months because they were doing a lot more than just building his animatronic. I don't know exactly what changes they made, but they were at the very least doing a refurb of a lot of things.
Mhm.
And I think they may have changed the script a little bit, but I didn't look at the show and I don't remember it well enough to have that memorized. But so it is closed as it usually is when we have a new president, but hopefully it won't be closed for very long.
Yeah, that'll be a good one to check out.
Yes. And speaking of new presidents slash inaugurations, have you seen the Bernie Sanders memes that have been
Oh,
going around, specifically the ones where he's at Disney World?
yes. Those have pretty much consumed my last few days.
So obviously there's Bernie Sanders memes across the board, but the ones that are floating around like Instagram for the Disney community are hilarious, where he's like sitting on top of spaceship Earth in his chair like this with his little little mittens on, or sitting outside of Magic Kingdom's gates like that, or on a park bench next to Mickey Mouse or something like that. Do
I
you remember
actually
any?
I saw a website the other day where you could type in any place or address and it pops Bernie anywhere. So
No.
I typed in Disney World and it was really funny. I should have sent it to you. It was really funny because it must use like Google Maps. So it put him on the corner, like in front of like the entrance, but not in like the good entrance, like the road you would turn into. So he just looked like this like grumpy old man waiting for like his bus to pick him up or something. It was
Oh, I've
awesome.
seen him in like the black doom buggies that they have for
Uh,
Haunted Mansion, and he's sitting there and like the ghosts are next to him. So funny. I love that so much.
those are
So,
good.
in other news, the construction walls in front of the new Ratatouille ride
Mhm.
have come down at Epcot. So we're getting closer to the new ride opening at Epcot in the France Pavilion. We don't know exactly when, but I would not be surprised if they open in February or maybe
Mhm.
March. I'd be
Okay.
surprised if it takes longer than March for that ride to open. So I'm really excited about that. They had that ride at Disneyland Paris, and now it's come to the US in
Yeah.
the France Pavilion. So have you seen this on YouTube?
Mm-mm, I
You
haven't.
know about it?
I'll have to look it up.
So the new trackless rides are all the rage at Disney parks now, where you get in a big car that holds like maybe 6 people, and this one's in the shape of a mouse for or a rat, like Remy, and then it goes around different rooms, and they bring in screens not really simulators, but it's like often 3D screens so that
Mhm.
you're looking at the movie, but then you're also zooming around real life set pieces and props and that sort of thing. So it's kind of a blend between animatronics and a simulator. And your
Mhm.
car goes in different formations on the floor, and every time you ride it, it might take a slightly different path. So you'll still see the same rooms, but you're not always going to take the exact same right turn at the same moment. So it will be a little more adventurous each time.
Mhm.
Kind of
Yeah.
what it's like the 2.0 version of the Mr. Toad ride. Do you remember that?
Uh-huh. Oh yeah. Mhm.
So they had two tracks. Only with that ride, you would see slightly different rooms. And so you would go through, you might go right or you might go left, and you'd go through the library or you'd go through something with like a night falling on you or something like that. And then you'd end up in the same place. So it's going to be sort of like that. But I don't know that you will miss any rooms. You're just going to go through them differently. So should be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
Should be
I
a
like
lot of
it.
fun. Yeah. In Shanghai, they have a really cool trackless ride that's a Beauty and the Beast ride. And I looked it up on YouTube, and
Mhm.
it takes you through like different scenes, like the Be Our Guest scene, and there's all these animatronics and stuff like that. And then at the end, you go in and you see Belle and the Beast waltzing, and the room just lights up around you with all these lights, and the screens come and it makes you look like you're in that ballroom where they
Oh
dance to Beauty and the Beast. It's so beautiful. I really want to I wish they would bring that ride. I wish they would have brought that ride to France, but I'm happy with what we've got. I think that
wow.
one might have been better, but oh
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. That would have been great. I
So,
did see too,
mhm.
there is close to that ride, I believe it's in the France Pavilion. There's going to be a new restaurant, table and quick service. It's called La Crêperie de Paris.
Ooh.
So I guess a creperie. So more good food in the France Pavilion, which is
That's
exciting.
good. They
Yeah.
had a crepe cart there in France. I don't know that it was permanent. It could have been like for festivals. It was there when I was there, but I just don't know that it was there all the time. And so it
Hmm.
sounds like it was a big enough hit that they're making it a permanent location
Yes.
now.
Yep.
That's good.
So it
France
looks
has
like
the best food.
yes, agree. There's so much good food, but they said 2021, not sure when yet, but some people are wondering maybe they're going to time it with the Ratatouille opening. So that would be exciting.
Do you know, did they take anything out of that pavilion to make room for that creperie?
I don't know. It doesn't say, but that's not a huge area. So I don't
It's
know.
not huge. They have a few shops. They have like a makeup and perfume shop. Then they have a shop where they have like kitchen supplies and aprons and a really beautiful dress for kids that I bought one of them in like it's a yellow and blue French dress for my 5-year-old. Oh, it is so pretty. And then they have a big gift shop, and then like the cafe where you can buy sandwiches and all the different desserts. And they also have an ice cream shop on the left. And so I just don't know where they would put it unless it's a new um, structure that they built along with the ride building.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's new. I don't think they tore anything down. They just filled in a little gap there. So
Yeah.
hopefully they didn't take anything out because
Yeah.
it's
We'll
really good.
see.
So,
Hmm.
okay. Well, I have to look at the map. I haven't looked at the
Yes.
map to see where they put it, but People Mover. People Mover was down for refurb for a while, and it is opening as of January 31st. So that is
Back.
good news. Yes,
Girls would
it's
be
back.
happy.
They are. They love that ride. First ride they ever went on at Walt Disney World, and they loved it. The Soul of Jazz exhibit is coming to Epcot's American Adventure Pavilion, and that's just going to be like, I guess, kind of like a museum walkthrough exhibit about American jazz.
Hmm.
Sounds interesting. So,
Yep.
have you seen the new Soul movie that's on
No,
Disney
I
Plus?
haven't. It's on my list, but no, I haven't. I've heard of, I think my brother watched it and loved it. So
I attempted to watch it, and then the girls were not in a TV watching mood, and
okay.
we didn't get very far. I was hoping to have watched it for this show so we could
Yeah.
talk about it, but no, I have not seen
Next
it.
month.
Yeah, next month we'll watch it.
Yeah.
And so I wonder, does that have anything to do with jazz?
Possibly, I would think.
I don't know. I should have Googled it. But it just struck me that this is called The Soul of Jazz, and they just
Mhm.
released a movie called Soul.
Yeah.
And it could be a coincidence, but okay. So yes, this does say um, who seeks to reunite his soul and his body after they're accidentally separated just before his big break as a jazz musician. So I don't know for sure, but I would have to assume that this exhibit is going to incorporate the movie Soul, which would be cool. So
Yeah.
okay,
I like it.
so I need to see both of those. um, and then Tron and Moana's Journey of Water likely to be delayed. They were supposed to open this year. Both are probably not going to open this year. More likely, we're going to see Ratatouille first, and then maybe Guardians of the Galaxy. And like I joked last week with my brother Dan, we're going to be getting at least 2 new attractions in Epcot for Magic Kingdom's anniversary.
Yeah.
Which is really a bummer.
Yeah.
Whoopee.
That Moana, it's not a ride, right? It's like a maze kind of thing or
It's
something.
like some sort of walk-through attraction. I never
Mhm.
quite understood exactly what it is, but yeah, it's
I
something
bet
you
it's
walk
gonna be
through.
really cool.
Yeah. And they were also supposed to do a walkthrough exhibit in the UK pavilion at Epcot, and it was going to be upstairs in one of those buildings. It was going to be a Mary Poppins walkthrough exhibit. And I imagine, I don't know this for sure, and I could be wrong, but I think it was going to be, the scene where they clean up in the bedroom
Mhm.
and they sing Spoonful of Sugar. I
Yep.
imagine that it's
Yep.
going to be like an interactive room, kind of like that, kind
Yeah.
of magical type thing.
That is that like not happening? Was that a rumor? Is
They
that on
canceled
hold?
it. I don't know if
Oh,
canceled indefinitely is just not like right now on the list to do.
who can we lobby via YouTube to get that back?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to start stalking like Joe Rhodes or something like that, one of the Imagineers. So no, I mean it's purely financial. It's all because of COVID. It would have happened and probably would have opened by now, by this year, had it not been for the shutdown and all the money they lost. So that's too bad. We'll see what they come up with instead. A lot of times when there's a financial struggle, like after 9/11, projects that are already even mid construction get canceled. Like the second phase of Pop Century, it was, first they did the classic years, the 50s through the 90s, and then they were supposed to do the legendary years, which was the first half of the century, and that got scrapped because
Mhm.
by the time they got their financials back in order, they got a new idea, something else they wanted to do more. So sometimes that happens. So I don't know if we'll end up getting the Mary Poppins walkthrough exhibit or not, but okay. So before we move on to a little game with Jennifer, the International Festival of the Arts has launched this month, and it will continue through next month. And I think like maybe the first week of March or so. And so this year, a lot of it's sort of the same as last year, but they do have a brand new cart called the Vibrant and Vivito. It's between, I probably totally botched how you say that, but it's between Morocco and France. And it's a lot of very brightly colored Latin food and desserts. And it looks really, really cool. I went on the website and I'll just read off a couple of the things. They have a blue corn pupusa stuffed with cheese, topped with shredded pork and chili sauce and cabbage slaw and crema. Oh, ever since I've been cooking the HelloFresh meals, I really like crema. And there's
Mhm.
nothing to it.
Same.
It's like sour cream and lime, but for some reason it makes everything better. So they have that, and they have a very bright, very pretty passion fruit mousse with dragon fruit jam. And that is not
Ooh.
the type of dessert I would usually order. I usually go for something peanut butter and or chocolate, but this looks so pretty. I would have to order it just to see what it tastes like. So,
Mhm.
And then something else that piqued my interest was the coconut and passion fruit smoothie. That sounds pretty good on a hot day.
Oh yeah, that sounds
Although
really
it's
good.
January, it's not hot, but it would be
That's
hotter than it is here. So that would be pretty fun.
yeah, I
So
agree.
we
I
got
saw
to, what's that?
Well, speaking of food, I saw two things. Disney Springs is now offering a ever glazed donuts, which is a grilled cheese made with two glazed donuts. So
What?
from what I have seen, the internet is ablaze with this. There
I've
are
not seen
two
this on
stamps.
Instagram.
This is, I saw this on my Yahoo News, but I mean, it is pretty much exactly what it says, just a like gooey grilled cheese between two donuts. So I pose the question to you, would you eat it? Would you try it?
Okay, yeah, I would. So that I could talk about it on my show. It doesn't really pique my donuts, good. Cheese, good. They should be good together. But I have never ever considered putting them together. Oh, what do you think? Would you eat it?
I think I would.
Really?
As long as the donuts were warm
Yeah.
and the cheese wasn't like, as long as everything was warm, like hot and like all like, I don't know, I feel like it would be good.
Now, see, okay. So I spent 4 months in Italy in college, and there was one Chinese restaurant in Rome where I lived, at least one that I found at the time. And I thought this was just something they served, but evidently my friend who was bilingual, she lived there every summer since she was born, said that no, they pretty much just do this when they find out you're American. They brought out as an appetizer a little bowl with corn and cheese melted on top, and it was just corn and cheese, and it's because they thought that's what Americans would like. And now, I mean, I have to say that's not too far fetched, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I think, I mean,
sure. What else can
sure,
you
put
put together?
cheese and donuts and we will eat it. But, you know, I don't think it's something that I would order often, and I certainly wouldn't make it for myself. But if someone handed it to me and said, try this, pretty sure I would.
I have a Stevie B's pizza joint up the street, and they have all different types of original pizzas, one of which is pizza with mac and cheese on top. It's like,
Mm.
sure, how about it? Just
Why
put them
not? Carbs on carbs on
together.
carbs.
This
And
is
there was
terrible.
one other food thing that I saw, and this is all making me very hungry because I think we had talked before about kind of the lack of restaurants. Like Hollywood Studios is a little bit light on the restaurant front.
They're good
So
for like American diners. That's
yeah,
it.
but there's,
Okay.
well, in the American vein though, it's the Roundup Rodeo Barbecue is going to be
Mm.
opening in Toy Story Land this year. So TBD on
Yes.
when, but that'll be another option.
And
So
that's table service, right?
mhm.
Mm-hmm. Did you hear anything about what they're offering or anything like that? Is it like barbecue joint?
Well, it says BBQ, so I'm assuming,
Oh, you said BBQ. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Well, that's
I'm
good.
gonna,
We'll give a variety.
yeah, mac and cheese, bread, coleslaw.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it will be better than the Diamond Horseshoe
Hmm.
at Magic Kingdom because that food was awful. But there is good barbecue at Disney. And I'm trying to think of where it was. Where was it? Uh, it could be Hoop Doo Review, but that's not the one I'm thinking of because I haven't gone there since like the mid 90s. Well, that should be interesting.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. All right. Do you have any other updates?
One quick one. I'll make it
Okay.
quick. The Jungle Cruise is getting an update.
Oh,
Um, there are, you know, they put out a statement and everything, but there are some problematic themes, I'll say, in the ride. So it is getting a revamp, and it's getting updated to make it a little more culturally sensitive and aware. So I would assume
okay.
that's, you know, those are good things that they're doing. So similar to, the movies with the disclaimers, they're, being socially responsible, updating some of that stuff. But that the ride is getting a big uplift, I guess. So.
Okay. And I think I know what parts you're talking about, and that makes sense. And there had been some chatter about that last spring about whether they
Mhm.
were going to update that. And I never heard anything after the fact.
Yep.
And, Disney fans have been all on Twitter about the Splash Mountain retheming to
Mhm.
Princess and the Frog. And I think that is great. And but I haven't really heard anyone talk about this one way or another. Personally, I don't care if they change it. I don't have
Yeah.
that ride. I never really rode that ride as a kid for some reason. I started riding it as an adult, so I like it, but I'm not obsessed with it. And if they
Mhm.
did change it, I don't know how much I would have noticed because I just don't have it memorized in my head, like some of the other
Mhm.
rides that I've been riding for 30 some years.
Yeah, not one
Um,
of the big flashy rides that people always talk about,
yeah.
but it is. They announced it on a Monday, so they said the statement was to make the attraction feel more inclusive and less racially insensitive in its depiction of other cultures. So
Good.
I'm on board for
Okay.
that.
Good things.
Good.
All right. That's good. And
That's it.
are you ready for a little would you rather?
I am.
Okay. 5 questions coming at you. Here we go. Jennifer, would you rather eat, and this is coming from the International Festival of the Arts menu, okay? Would you rather eat a deconstructed strawberry cheesecake, which has, it's like a little dessert plate with whipped New York style cheesecake with fresh Florida strawberries and sugar cookies? That's one. Or taco de chocolate, which is chocolate candy shell filled with Mexican chocolate mousse with a touch of chili topped with tropical fruit from the Mexico Pavilion. And
Ooh.
these are items specific to the festival menu.
I think I'm gonna go with the Mexican chocolate taco. That
Yeah,
sounds.
you are. That's
I'd
what I would have
definitely
gone
eat the other
with.
one, no problem, but that sounds different and delicious.
Yes. I really like when they put the chili powder or pepper.
Yep.
I do that on, like, I'll put a pinch of cayenne pepper in my hot cocoa, and it's really
Ooh,
good.
okay. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Well,
like to spice it
I'm
up.
going. I'm going chocolate. I assume that would be your answer too.
Yes. Anything with chocolate is a shoe-in for me. Okay, Jennifer, would you rather spend an hour at the complimentary Animation Academy to learn how to draw some of your favorite Disney characters, or spend an hour joining with other artists to complete a larger than life paint by number figment mural? And these are both things you can do at Epcot right now for the Festival of the Arts.
I would do the hour lesson. I think that would be really cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Now, usually, like last year, they had a lot of classes that you can sign up for, and this one says it's complimentary. They had classes that you could pay for. You had to sign up and get a ticket and pay for them, and they would be, some of them were like 3 hour long art
Oh wow.
classes. Yeah, but they're not doing them this year because they had, kind of large classes with a bunch of different people. And I imagine
Yeah.
I don't know if the instructors had to walk around and interact or not, but unfortunately, this is the only class I could find on the website this year for the festival. So that's what they're doing. Okay, Jennifer, would you rather get a free annual pass for 1 year, but stay off property at a Motel 6, or stay for a week at the Star Wars resort for free, but not visit any parks? Just stay at the resort for 7 days
Oh,
for
oh,
free.
this is difficult. Um, okay. Well, I think I've talked before about how I really am picky about hotels. So
Yes.
I'm gonna go Star Wars Hotel because I've been to the parks. I would miss it. I could always go again, but that's if it's free and I get an opportunity to go there, I'll do the hotel then, the Star
Okay.
Wars Hotel.
Do you
I am
think
not going to Motel 6.
do you think you would lose your mind at a Star Wars hotel after 6 days?
I mean, I assume there's alcohol there. So
And Probably a pool of some kind.
Yes, as long as there's a pool and or drinks. Otherwise, yeah, I'm going bananas in my room.
What kind of costume do the lifeguards wear at the Star Wars pool?
Everyone has to wear the Princess Leia bikinis, men, women.
Yes, that's perfect.
I
Maybe
think
that's
so.
what it is. Men and women.
Everyone.
Do they have to wear a Jabba the Hutt costume
Yes.
and lounge by the pool? Okay. So, Jennifer, would you rather ride the new Tron roller coaster coming to Tomorrowland or the Guardians of the Galaxy on your next trip, assuming they are both opened?
You're gonna have to refresh me. This is
Mhm.
embarrassing. The Guardians
That's
of the
okay.
Galaxy ride. What is
Okay, so that is a indoor roller coaster coming to Epcot. It's
it?
replacing where Universe of Energy was, where the dinosaur ride is.
Yep.
And it's my understanding is it's a bit more of a family coaster. So it's gonna speed through and then kind of slow down, and you'll get to look at different props or animatronics or scenes or something to do with the Guardians of the Galaxy movie with Chris Pratt. And then you'll zoom through the roller coaster some more. And so it's a little less um, extreme. Tron is a really cool roller coaster that's partially indoors, partially not, and you're on sort of like a motorcycle type car where you're like leaning down over a motorcycle and you're driving really fast on it, but it's a roller coaster and it's much more of a it's probably going to be like Space Mountain on caffeine.
Okay, I'll go Tron then. I like
Okay.
roller coasters, so we'll do that one.
Okay. All right. And Jennifer, you'd rather skip every ride line, skip the line, go straight to the ride, but have to sit next to Bernie Sanders on each
Or
of them,
get to sit next to Bernie Sanders.
or get to sit by it, or not sit by Bernie Sanders, but have to wear his gloves in 100-degree weather during your Walt Disney
This
World summer trip.
is easy. I am getting to sit next to Bernie Sanders because I want to hear his commentary on every ride. And I will even hold his little mittened hand on rides he's afraid of.
You think he'll be wearing the mittens in 100-degree weather?
Yes, he will be.
So, but this means you're going to have to skip out on riding with your little girls on their first trip to Disney.
Well, the 3-year-old well, it's okay. I have one chance. I'll take them many other times. I have one chance to ride with Bernie, and I'm
Yes, Disney with Bernie. I love it.
yes.
I love Bernie. It's always so disheveled.
And his hair after like Space Mountain would just be, I'd be here for it.
What do you mean? Oh my gosh. Oh, poor Bernie. Oh, he makes me laugh. Okay. Well, that's it for today. That's all of our news and updates and our Would You Rather questions. Thank you so much for joining again this month, Jennifer. It was so fun to have you.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you all for listening and watching. If you like the show, remember to give us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever platform you're listening to. And check us out and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Polka Dot Podcast. If you have any questions, if you'd like to contribute to the show and have any ideas, feel free to email me at polkadotpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks so much, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye.